Tonight, you'll probably eat 3 meals, maybe a snack in between. You won't think about where any of it came from. But for most of human history, that question was the only one that mattered. What did your ancestors actually eat every single day, just to survive until tomorrow? The real answer is far stranger than steak and berries around a fire. Start with a myth. You've probably heard it. Cavemen hunted mammoths. Big spears, big kills, big feasts. It's a good story. It's mostly wrong. Anthropologist Richard Wrangham has spent decades studying early human diets, and his research points somewhere else entirely. Meat was rare. Hunting large animals was dangerous, unreliable, and often unsuccessful. Most days ended without a kill. So what filled the gap? Plants, roots, insects, whatever the land offered that day. Researchers studying modern hunter-gatherer groups like the Hadza of Tanzania have found something surprising. Gathered foods, not hunted meat, provided the majority of daily calories. Tubers, berries, nuts, honey when they could find it. Women and children did much of this gathering, and their contribution kept the group alive far more consistently than any hunt. Think about that for a second. Your image of the strong hunter bringing home dinner? For most days, in most seasons, it was probably the opposite. Steady, unglamorous foraging kept everyone fed. But here's where it gets stranger. Your ancestors weren't just eating what was available, their bodies were being shaped by what they ate. Primatologist Catherine Milton compared the diets of humans to other primates and found something your body still carries today. Human digestive systems are smaller, relative to body size, than you'd expect for an animal our size. Chimpanzees have massive guts built to process huge quantities of raw, fibrous plant matter. Yours doesn't work that way. Why? Because something changed the game entirely. Cooking. Wrangham's cooking hypothesis argues that controlled fire didn't just make food taste better. It made food give up more of its energy. Cooked starches and proteins are dramatically easier to digest than raw ones. Your gut could shrink because it no longer needed to do as much of the work. That saved energy didn't disappear. It went somewhere else. Your brain. Pause on that. The moment your ancestors started cooking, they weren't just changing dinner. They were rewiring their own biology. So when did this start? Evidence is messy, and researchers disagree on exact dates. But archaeologist and biological anthropologist Amanda Henry has examined something remarkable, hiding in ancient teeth. Microscopic starch grains, trapped in dental plaque from Neanderthal fossils, show they were eating cooked plant foods. Not just meat, not just raw scraps, roasted roots and grains, processed and softened by fire tens of thousands of years ago. That single detail rewrites the picture. Neanderthals, often imagined as brutish meat-eaters, were cooking vegetables. Now think about what your daily menu actually looked like if you were born 50,000 years ago. No regular meals. No guaranteed dinner. Some days, nuts and tubers. Some days, insects, which were an enormous reliable source of protein and fat that modern diets almost completely ignore. Occasionally, if the group was lucky or skilled or desperate, meat. And always, always, the search never really stopped. Here's the part that should feel uncomfortable. Your body was built for that unpredictability. Feast, then famine. Abundance, then nothing. Your metabolism evolved to store fat efficiently, because storing fat meant surviving the gaps. Does that sound familiar? Because right now, you live in a world with no gaps. Food is always available. The vending machine doesn't run out in winter. The fridge doesn't disappear if you don't find it in time. Your ancestors' bodies, tuned for scarcity, are now living inside permanent abundance. That mismatch has a name among researchers studying evolutionary nutrition. Some call it the evolutionary discordance hypothesis, first developed in detail by researchers like S. Boyd Eaton, who argued that many modern diseases come from a diet wildly different from the one our bodies were built to expect. It's not that ancient food was magically healthier. It's that ancient food came with built-in limits. You couldn't overeat sugar because sugar barely existed outside of seasonal fruit and rare honey. You couldn't overeat fat because fat was hard to get and burned quickly once you did. Scarcity did the regulating for you. Nobody had to think about portion control. The environment handled it. Now think about the modern grocery store. Endless shelves. Engineered snacks built to override the very fullness signals your ancestors relied on. Your brain still runs old software. It still says, eat this now. You don't know when food will run out again. Except now, it never runs out. There's another twist here, one that